What kind of city slicker walks into a barn guarded by a 300-pound ram and expects to come out unscathed? Let me tell you about Lisa Harper, the woman who thought she could waltz onto my property and turn my life upside down. Grab a seat, because this story's got more twists than a country road and a ram named Titan who doesn't mess around. It all started on a Tuesday morning, the sun barely peeking over the ridge in our little town of Willow Creek, population small enough to fit in a diner. I was on my porch, coffee in hand, half listening to classic rock on my old crank radio while oiling my tractor. From there, I had a front row seat to the chaos. Lisa, new to town with her designer heels and a fake fern under her arm, had been stirring up trouble since she rolled in with her mismatched suitcases and a list of improvements for our sleepy hamlet. She already asked about speaking to the HOA president. Newsflash, we don't have one, and turned her nose up when I said so, like she just stepped in something foul. She didn't like my barn, said it ruined the hillsides. Aesthetic. Suggested my chickens looked anxious, and my scarecrow was too hostile. I fired back that her perfume was a public health hazard. Safe to say, we weren't swapping recipes anytime soon. But I never expected her to strut right up to my barn, bold as brass, ignoring 3 warning signs, a motion-triggered sprinkler, and a carved plaque screaming, "Private barn, beware of ram." I saw her squint at the sign, mutter something about fixing the VYB, and march inside like she owned the deed. 10 seconds later, she was airborne. See, my barn isn't just a building, it's a fortress, guarded by Titan, a black-faced, horned Suffolk ram built like a tank who got banned from a petting zoo for staring too hard. I raised him after he had bred his own mama at 3 weeks old. We've got a deal. I feed him, give him space, and he keeps out the crazies. Lisa? Prime crazy. From my porch, I watched it unfold like a slow-motion train wreck. Lisa creaked open the barn doors, stepped onto the hay-strewn floor, and froze. Titan stood dead center, chewing a piece of tarp like it owed him money, his eyes locked on her. You know that moment when 2 hotheads size each other up, waiting for someone to flinch? Lisa flinched, but instead of backing off, she waved her arms and yelled like she was shooing a fly. Big mistake. Titan doesn't negotiate. He charged not a full-on skewering, thank God, but a solid 20-mile-an-hour shove. Lisa flew out the doors, landed in a compost pile, and started shrieking like she'd been drafted into a war zone. I called Sheriff Nora Blake, who's seen some wild stuff in Willow Creek but never a ram takedown this epic. She rolled up 10 minutes later, cruiser crunching gravel, sunglasses on despite the cloudy sky. Lisa was mud-splattered, flailing, screaming about lawsuits, animal cruelty, and homicidal livestock. Titan just stared from the barn, unbothered. Nora glanced at me, deadpan. Tell me the ram's name isn't really Titan. I grinned. Wouldn't dream of joking about royalty. I offered Lisa a towel, she slapped it away. Offered a chair, she demanded I be arrested. Then she whipped out her phone, filming, yelling about taking this to the county board. I'll have your livestock license revoked, she hollered. I sipped my cold coffee. Don't need a license for a ram, ma'am. This is America. But then things got weird. While Nora and Lisa traded verbal jabs, I slipped into the barn to check on Titan and lock things down in case Lisa came back with a vendetta. That's when I noticed it. A patch of hay, usually flat, was sunken, like something heavy had been stashed and covered fast. Curious, I grabbed a rake, cleared the hay, and found a rusted metal box, 2 feet wide, no markings. My barn, my land, but this wasn't here last week. Titan gave me a look that said, dig faster, human. Something about that box felt awful dangerous, just wrong, like it was hidden in a hurry, with urgency. The hinges were old, caked with dirt, like it had been buried somewhere else before ending up here. Someone had moved it recently. And I had a gut feeling that someone was Lisa. Her panic when Titan charged wasn't just about the foul, it was the kind of fear you get when you're caught red-handed. What was she looking for in my barn? And why was this box under Titan's hay bed? I didn't have answers, but this wasn't about trespassing anymore. Something bigger was brewing. 2 days later, I was back on my porch, sipping sweet tea, Titan snoring inside the barn like he just won a war. The air felt heavy, the birds too quiet, like trouble was coming. Sure enough, a white SUV with shiny rims pulled up my dirt drive, looking as out of place as a peacock in a henhouse. Lisa stepped out, not alone this time. A guy in a too-tight blazer climbed out of the passenger seat, hair slicked back like a TV lawyer. Lisa marched up, pointing like she'd memorized every HOA bylaw. "This is my cousin Victor," she said. "He's an attorney, here to discuss a property line issue." Victor flashed a smile that screamed timeshare salesman, pulling a rolled-up blueprint from a leather briefcase. "Now, my family's owned this land for 3 generations. The barn's older than our zip code." But Lisa, with her city smarts, had dug up some old zoning map, claiming a sliver of my barn's east wall sat 2 feet over her property line, thanks to a recent town reshuffle. Victor tapped the map, all smug. "This makes your structure non-compliant, subject to annexation by neighboring lots." I blinked. "You trying to steal my barn?" Lisa stepped up, all high and mighty. "This town deserves culture. I propose turning the barn into a historical exhibit, open to the public." "Super VY said naturally." I stared. "A museum? For my livestock barn?" She didn't blink. "With a cafe and gift shop." Titan snorted from inside, probably choking on the absurdity. While they measured imaginary lines and whispered like they were planning a heist, I ducked back to the barn. The box was hidden under a tarp behind feed bags. I dusted it off and found a faint engraving. AV 1993. It meant nothing to me, but I bet it meant something to Lisa. That night, I showed Sheriff Nora a photo of the box. She chewed her jerky, thoughtful. "Lisa didn't mention this, but I'd bet she was after it. Explains her obsession with your barn." She paused. "You know who else is back in town? Her ex-husband, Caleb Holt." My jaw dropped. "Caleb's here?" Nora nodded. "Saw him at the post office. Didn't say why?" That night I couldn't sleep. I sat in the barn with Titan, the box between us like a ticking bomb. No key fit the lock, and Titan just licked it and wandered off to chew tarp. By morning, Lisa had upped the ante, filing an injunction to seal the barn for historical reviewed, barring mean Titan from entering. Titan took it personally, sulking in the pasture, headbutting fences, and scaring squirrels. Lisa paraded around town, pitching her museum idea, splitting folks. Some thought she had a point, others, like Farmer Amos, offered me his goat for a retaliation siege. I passed, but the image of a goat army was tempting. Then I found something else, footprints, not animal or tire tracks, leading from the barn through tall grass to a wooded creek. I followed, shotgun slung just in case, and found a clearing with fresh dug soil, an abandoned shovel, and a torn comic book bag vintage. My brain started connecting dots. The box, Lisa's intrusion, Caleb's return, and now comic book scraps in the woods. This wasn't about land. Back at the barn, I found Caleb waiting on my porch, lean, weathered, in a leather jacket. "Tom," he said. "Caleb," I replied. He nodded at the barn. "She found it, didn't she?" I played dumb. "Found what?" He stepped closer. "That box. It was never meant to be found, not by her. Memories, mistakes, and something worth more than both." Then he walked off, Leah vying me with more questions than answers. The next morning, Lisa was back, clipboard in hand, bossing around a small construction crew with measuring wheels and a drone buzzing like a hornet. She was getting estimates, prepping her heritage landmark pitch. I didn't argue. I slipped into the barn through a side hatch, Titan chewing a broom handle, eyeing the drone like he wanted to ram it. I sat by the box, decided enough was enough, and grabbed my rotary grinder. Sparks flew, Titan stomped, but the lock gave way. Inside were pristine comic books, first edition Marvels and DCs, worth thousands, baseball cards, including a mint Nolan Ryan, and a folder. The folder had newspaper clippings, photos of a younger Caleb with the town's mayor back when he was a councilman, auction ledgers, and a property sale receipt signed by the land's previous owner and Lisa Harper. Before I could process it, the barn doors creaked. Caleb stepped in, eyes on the box. "You opened it," he said, tired. I nodded. "What is this?" he sighed. "In the 90s, comics were a black market gold miniacy to launder money with fluctuating values. I was just collecting, then got offered 10 grand for one box. Lisa didn't know at first, but when she did, she wanted in for profit. We split before I could move the stash. I hired a guy to hide it, but he vanished. When Lisa moved back, I figured she tracked it here, using that zoning nonsense to get the barn." I showed him the receipt. "She signed this." He nodded. "Dummy deed to cover transactions. She's got no legal claim, but enough to fool a clerk." Then Lisa's voice cut through. "I know what you found." She stood at the doors, eyes on the box like it was pirate treasure. "Give it to me, Caleb. You owe me." He stepped forward, firm. "No, Lisa. You walked away, tried to steal it, trespassed, and faked a claim." Her voice turned icy. "You wouldn't have that collection without me. I have records." I cut in. "Actually, Lisa, you forgot something. You tried to seize my barn illegally, and this box was opened on my land, with the sheriff considering a warrant." Her eyes darted, calculating, then she bolted, sprinting across the field, clipboard flapping. Titan saw his chance, charged, and through the dust, her scream told me he'd won again. By noon, Willow Creek was buzzing. Folks camped outside the sheriff's office with lawn chairs, sipping lemonade, as Lisa was questioned for trespassing and suspicious activity with intent to annoy. Her fake deed collapsed. The town clerk confirmed it was never processed. The story hit a regional blog, and I got reality TV offers for Ram Guard. I told them to pay Titan in oats. Kids took selfies with him. Old man Jasper knit him a barn defender blanket. The comics were valuable, but the folder detailing Lisa and Caleb's tax-dodging scheme with wealthy collectors was trouble. Caleb wanted out, tired of running. Lisa, in questioning, tried pinning it all on Caleb, then pivoted to her jazz-filled museum dream. Nora barely kept a straight face. The hearing, 3 days later, was a circus in the musty town hall. Lisa, in a beige pantsuit, represented herself, citing obscure laws and wavvying barn diagrams. She claimed Caleb and I planted the comics, that Titan was a trained weapon. Judge Henry Cole, a cactus of a man, barely hid his disbelief. I presented the deed clerk records, Caleb's affidavit, and for fun, a photo of Titan in a party hat, pro-vying his peaceful nature. Henry accepted it with a nod. Lisa's claims were tossed, the injunction lifted, and she was told to leave other people's barns alone. She yelled about appealing. Henry muttered she'd need a court higher than common sense. Caleb stayed, renting a room above the hardware store, sorting the comics, planning to donate half to a Chicago museum. Lisa vanished to Maine, reportedly fighting roosters over noise. The barn became a local legend, with "I survived Titan" t-shirts selling out. Kids left treats at the fence, apples, carrots, sugar cubes. I rebuilt the barn doors, added a sign, "Respect the Ram." Some afternoons I'd sit with a cold drink, Titan by my side, watching the sunset. Caleb joined sometimes, but mostly it was me, the Ram, and the quiet. When new folks ask why the barn's off limits, I just smile. "Go ahead, walk it. But don't blame me when Titan settles the score."